There's a big enough sample size now under Josh Fraser.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Eddie and Jimmy, our podcast. The Jimmy is the great Jimmy Bartel. G'day, Jim.
G'day, Ed.
How are you, pal?
No, I'm pretty good. We're at the pointy end of the season.
Yeah. We are indeed.
Yes, and Wildcard, yes, it is making it exciting for the
Well, the Wildcard starts this week.
It does.
It starts this week. Collingwood needs to go over to beat West Coast Eagles because with their injury problems, they're going to be unlikely to win the last two. Win this week, Collingwood make the Wildcard round at the very least.
Carlton,
so that's
St Kilda's tasty as well.
Carlton, St Kilda. Carlton win that. They're just about there. It's unbelievable. Hey, we're brought to you by our friends at Fiji Airways, by the way, and Paul Scarrett and the team. Ski G is what they're talking about at the moment, Jim. So you can fly to Tokyo, you can fly to Vancouver and go skiing in Canada and Japan. But, of course, you can also just stay in Fiji and enjoy the sun or do what I'm doing, and that is fly to Los Angeles and then to anywhere in America. Fly to San Francisco and all these things that are happening at the moment. It is absolutely sensational. So do that.
The world's your oyster, as they say.
Take the kids to Disneyland via Fiji.
Take Dad to Disneyland.
Exactly. But or back the other way, of course. You go out there and then come back, have a little rest, fly into Brisbane, Sydney and Melbourne. That's Fiji Airways. So visit FijiAirways.com to book your flight to Fiji and beyond. Fiji Airways, where happiness takes flight. And, of course, our great friends at
Hyundai,
the Alexio. Visit your local Hyundai dealer today. You know that more than 50% of cars at the moment being sold in Australia are electric or hybrid. So go along to a car company that has been right involved in this from the word go and have a good look at an Alexio. Visit Hyundai dealer today.
Well, petrol prices, have you seen them today?
Yeah, boom. The Strait of Hormuz.
Hormuz.
And also our federal government cutting excise. So they've put the clamps back on us. Let's get into it. Big wins on the weekend. Geelong, Sydney, GWS, Carlton and Melbourne.
Well, the Cats were excellent, and you touched on it before, the injury woes of Collingwood. As that game went on, it just exposed another player down and another player down. Unfortunately, Jeremy Howe breaking his arm, Perryman going off, and the knock-on effect that had. And
but that's for weeks going forward.
Yeah,
Geelong, when things were even at the start, Geelong belted Collingwood off the park in the first quarter.
Yeah, they had the game on their terms, but then they were able to actually expose Collingwood with some matchups. You know, they're a bit bigger in the front half, and when you've got Houston trying to defend a 200-centimetre mark blitzarves or a Polkinghorn, life became pretty difficult.
And the Pies missed some chances.
But they were brave too in the second half.
They were great, but they just, again, that last quarter, at the start of it, a couple of set shots at goals. Chris missed one, Pendlebury missed one running into an open goal, and they kicked those two. That would have been a bit tighter, but anyway, doesn't matter. Geelong were fantastic. I want to just jump to Carlton. Okay, so Carlton, fantastic result. I was actually sitting, I'd been to the AFLW game, the Australia-Ireland, which I'll get to a little bit later on. So I was actually sitting there with all the AFL people sitting next to Greg Swan, and we're watching the game, and he's watching Brisbane and Carlton. I'm joking with him, which team's he barracking for? And, at one stage, Brisbane kicked one of the best goals I've seen for the year, a fullback, a coast-to-coast, and it just looked like they were about to wipe the floor. And that was the last thing, that was the last shot they fired.
Yep.
And Carlton were fantastic.
They were 70-point winners.
Yeah.
You got the sense in the last quarter, Brisbane put the cue in the rack, but it said more about Carlton. There's a fun, exciting element about them. You see the way the players are celebrating, they're enjoying it, the way they're playing. And we had a look at a bit of data on Footy Furnace, and not to get too bogged down in data, but there's a big enough sample size now under Josh Fraser. So 11 games, 9-2, and all the key metrics, as they like to look at, they're pretty much top 4 or 5 in all areas. So
here's a key metric: 9-2.
Yeah, which would put them, if you just did that, second on the ladder. Freo would be 10-1, and then it'd be Adelaide and Hawthorn at 8-3.
So Josh, I actually sent Josh a message yesterday just to congratulate him on everything that was going on, and at that stage I actually asked him how his father Bill was, at which he replied, sadly he passed away on Thursday. Oh. And Bill was, because Josh was the first pick that we had when I became president of Collingwood, so it was great. Pick. And his father Bill was an old copper from Mansfield, would be in the room every week, as salt of the earth bloke you could ever meet. And he and my wife Carla, and Carla was only, I think at that stage she was only 28 as the president's wife, he was just such a gentleman, such a wonderful bloke, and his love for Josh and reciprocated was just wonderful to see a father-son situation like that. So for Josh to not say anything, the story has now come out that Bill passed and will be buried and laid to rest later this week. For him to do what he's been able to do, I just think it's been sensational. He has kept it so low key. He has, even on the weekend, didn't want to do the interviews. He wanted the players to enjoy what they've been able to do. I think he's just been wonderful.
Yeah, I know we do a segment later in the week, buy, sell or short.
Yeah.
The amount of stocks that would be bought in Josh Fraser, whether he turns into being Carlton coach.
Well, I hope he doesn't get the Carlton job.
Well, because, he'll get a job somewhere.
Want him back at Collingwood.
But the interesting thing is if he decides to not be in the process,
I think he's in the process.
What does he do if he isn't the Carlton coach? Does he remain at Carlton like as you know him better than me, he'll handle that beautifully. But would he then look elsewhere to get another little stop to be a senior coach?
I think you'd need to, because you can't be sort of hanging around. If it is somebody like a Jamie Graham or a couple of your old
teammates, Enright or Kelly.
Yeah, if they come in, then they're going to do their own thing. They're going to bring their own people. That's the thing that I think people miss in this whole coaching exercise. And I think this is why Ken Hinkley got the job ahead of Nathan Buckley, was that they looked at the whole package. Ken bringing the family down, moving in. This was his philosophy. This is where it was going to fit. So he actually fitted into more boxes than just the coach. Same at Essendon. At some stage when the Bombers make the decision, I believe it's going to be next week. Well, it has to be. Only 2 weeks to go after next week. But they need to make a decision on what the total package is. And I think we said it on the show on Footy Classified last week. They probably would be best to get McVeigh and Solomon and Hurd and whoever, and Davis or whoever else is good. I'd go, if Carlton don't get Fraser, I'd go get him and make him absolutely the development coach, because the Bombers have got they don't need a coach. They need to refit the whole place. Absolutely. So the same, I think, if Fraser doesn't get the job at Carlton, then he's probably better to go somewhere else, I would think. I don't know, do you?
Yeah.
Unless he's prepared to stay, and then that makes life easier for him. But I think it's hard for a first-time coach to come in and have that spectre. I mean, it's now, the Fraser spectre at Carlton is now almost bigger than the Hurd spectre at Essendon.
Oh, well, the hoodies have been sold out, of course, down at Icon Park, the hoodied coach.
I just think it's, as usual, though, the Collingwoodisation of Carlton.
You can't have
with Graham Wright.
You can't have
and Fraser.
Hey, he might have said this, and my apologies, but I haven't picked up on it, and I think I am, pretty proactive in being across most things. Is in the footy world has he ever had an intent to be a senior coach, or is it the fact that he's now done it? It's sparked the fire. Because what I'm saying is. He's done a good job. They got him in. Has that now gone, no, you know what, I want to be a senior coach. So then it then goes to the next point of what we were talking about. Well, does he need to go find another stop if he doesn't get this job?
Well, it's an interesting one, isn't it, Jim? Because in life, there's so many people who don't know they either can do the job or their way of looking at doing a job is completely different to what is happening. Now, that happens in the media all the time. This is the way, these are the rules, this is what has to happen. And then suddenly somebody comes in with something completely different. And then that becomes the new situation. And Fraser, I think, has been able to do that. He was seen as a really great development coach. Did a fantastic job at Carlton Bullants back in the time. And maybe he saw himself as being that type of person. He was a number one pick, of course, in the AFL draft, and he nearly won the 2002 premiership for Collingwood in that great second half of that game for the Pies. So he played some fantastic games for Collingwood. In fact, was about to really hit his straps when he hurt his PCL in a state game. But missed out on the premiership just as the team just evolved around him, and then he went off to the Gold Coast. But I look at him as a guy who sometimes the job picks you. And I think he's got in there. He's been able to test a few of his theories. He's looked at what he's had around him. He obviously looked and analysed what wasn't working under Michael Voss, and he's been able to change it. Now, that's the essence of a coach.
Oh, yeah.
He's coaching what he's got, not necessarily what he thinks should happen. And I think that happens a lot in coaching, is that people come in and, when they're pitching at these interviews they're all doing, you can pitch a philosophy, and that's great, but it's great to actually hear, and here's what I'm going to do. So he's already done it.
Yeah, it'll be so interesting to see. And he's had, I guess, the best job interview, as we mentioned, 11 weeks of sitting in the big boy chair.
Well, Graham Wright can sit there, and I think the great position for Graham Wright, Carlton and Josh Fraser is if Graham Wright's sitting there and going, righto, he can coach and do this, this and this, but I don't know if he's got that, and I don't know if he's got that. You go fill those spots up. The whole idea that every coach has got to be the master of the universe, long gone. You know that whatever he's doing, whether he's motivating his assistant coaches, I'm not down at Carlton, so I don't know, but whatever he's doing it well. And they're playing great football, and you can build around that. But, so it's going to be fascinating. Would you hire him?
You'd absolutely hire him. It depends what role you're asking me.
No, senior coach.
Look, go through the process.
No, you've gone through the process. I'm asking you. Right now, with everything that's going on, would you hire him?
Yeah, but that's a bit unfair because I haven't seen.
No, of course it's unfair. We're on a podcast.
I haven't seen what.
Doesn't matter what you say. It's not going to happen.
No, because we've got to offer a balanced point of view.
No, you're sucking up to your old teammates. That's
no,
why.
I'm not. I'm
yes,
not. No. Because who else is involved? Gene Syracuse is another one. I haven't sat there and spoken to him.
Yeah. There'll be a riot at Carlton, but that's not the first time that a riot has delivered the wrong person at Carlton.
Would you hire him?
I think now, yeah. Yeah, I think you would. But again, with the caveat, because, I'm watching these games from a pub in Sydney, so I'm not in the inner circle. Graham Wright's a smart guy. If they think he is the right bloke, then they can fit around him. Anyway, it'd be fascinating to see. They're in a good spot, the Blues, because they've now got a team they understand can play. They've got some good young players coming through. They're going to pick, the gun kid out of the draft in a father's son, and Walker, and there's some excitement down there.
I'll ask you then.
Peter Dean's boy, what about that goal?
He's fun to watch.
Yeah.
He's invested. Hey, I'll ask you then. The other club without a coach, Essendon Football Club.
Yeah.
In your opinion, is Hurd still the front runner, or has time been Essendon's best friend? So, like, the emotion around a lot of the Essendon faithful, it's Hurdy. And you hear past greats of the Essendon Football Club. He's the man to, as you just touched on, needs to come in at ground zero and build everything up. Would he still be the front runner, or is the likes of Jamie Graham going, hey, I want in? Murray Davis, hey, I want in.
I've said from day one that James Hurd is not the favourite at Essendon.
Yeah.
Right? From day one. And I still think I think his stocks have gone up. But I still think that the president would still like to have someone else coach, but he would love to have Hurd there. Now, whether Hurdy wants to be a director of football type of person or a role in that club. So I look at the Bombers, these coaching roles are all completely different. And I go back to my position. The two happiest days when we were completely useless at Collingwood was the first time Mick Malthouse spoke to the team, and when Greg Swan rang me one day and said, right, we got to the bottom. I said, how bad are we? He said, we're horrible as far as the finances are concerned, but I think we've got to the bottom of it. And then the next day I said, right, now we start making money. And we rebuilt the club. And I was able to go and do president stuff. Swanee was able to do CEO stuff, and Mick ran the footy department. And Neil Baum came in, and away we went. And we went from being the worst club in the competition to being in a grand final within 4 years. So I look at that and I see the Bombers in a similar situation, very similar situation. They need to heal and they need to make a decision. I think they need to do it now because the next 3 weeks are important. I think whoever is in that position needs to get in and have a look and don't turn up when everyone's in Bali and all that sort of carry on. They need to get right into it. Now, again, I'd nearly hire all those people. I think the Bombers need to come together. But I think it'll be important. If James Hurd's got his team, then that's what you'll be looking at. McVeigh's the same. Everyone else will be going into those situations. But I still think I don't think he's still the favourite.
Okay.
I think he might be second favourite.
Yep.
Right? But I think the Bombers are trying their best to come up with somebody other than Hurdy. But at the end, then it'll be, if they make it, if James gets the job, it's because they went, no, at the end of the day, he is the bloke.
Yep.
And then they can all get around him and get going.
No, I'm with you.
Do you reckon that makes sense?
Yeah, still do the process correctly, but I'm with you. You'd rather them in sooner rather than later. Because the end of the year is going to come quickly. List decisions. You want to see what you're working with. You want to find out, well, what's going on here? What have I actually got access to do as far as...
But you've got to go and find players.
Yeah, but football department, like, Craig Vozzo is doing the review. You want to say, hey, what's his review say? Am I finding strength and conditioning? Are we turning over list and recruiting? Am I adding 2 extra people in development? Are we doing
but they're gonna,
leadership?
If they finish bottom, they can walk somebody in the pre-season
exactly.
draft. They could actually get 4 or 5 really good players if they do it properly. They're going to get a draft concession as well. But you're not going to go get somebody to come to the Bombers at the moment unless they know who's there.
Yep.
And all the deals are being done now.
Correct.
And they've got a ton of money, so they know all that. I mean, we're not telling them anything they don't know. But I think sometimes you can get a bit paralysed in trying to make sure that it seems to be a situation. If the decision is that they want James Hird, they should just make the announcement. And if they don't, make that announcement too. Anyway, let's have a quick look. St Kilda, they need a big forward, don't they?
Yeah, unfortunately, it keeps getting hurt.
Yeah, he's out for the year.
Yeah. Look, I think they've
King.
Look, I think they've made some improvements this year, and they haven't made the jump to, challenge those top 6, 8 teams. They haven't been able to beat them at all, but seen improvement from their younger core as well. But you need someone up front, don't you?
But this is the one, isn't it? I mean, sadly, Silvani looks like he'll be out with that dislocated shoulder.
He's had a very good year, Silvani.
He's been great. He's probably needed to get away from Carlton to be able to do that. But St Kilda and Carlton, they were the 2 battles. It wasn't, the Koning going and Silvani going. This is it.
Sunday night. Sunday night footy.
Well, we've got 2 games on Sunday. Collingwood, West Coast, and Collingwood no certainty is against West Coast over there with their injuries, I reckon.
Are you trying to
No.
reverse Moore's sort of stuff?
No, there's nothing in that other than.
Jittery.
Hey?
You're getting jittery.
Yeah, I am.
What?
No, I just see this as a real danger game. The West Coast Eagles got done by bad kicking.
Yeah, poor goal.
And lots of stuff. They're not bad Eagles, okay?
No, I think the Eagles, they're individual. I reckon across the board, each player has gotten better. Now, a West Coast Eagles fan could probably turn around and say, that player has gotten worse. Well, there might be some reasons behind it. They haven't probably come forward as a team, but across the board...
Yeah, I've seen them a couple of times live and thought they're not far off.
But that's my point. I reckon individuals have gotten better this year, which is a big tick.
Yep.
But, the next step is, hey, how can we actually move together
Willem
as a team?
Dersma in tears post-match. Good to see it's hurting, etc.
Kid's a winner.
He's a beauty. Yeah,
He's a winner.
He's a ripping player.
And you see the combination with Harley Reid. Yeah. There's clearly more than football there that
I reckon
binds those two.
His goal that he kicked against Richmond earlier in the year, I was actually over there.
Oh, how good was that?
I reckon it's goal of the year.
Yeah, I've still got Bailey Williams up there at the Gabba where he sidestepped about 5 people in the pocket.
Yeah, but that one I liked. It was because of pure athleticism.
Noah Anderson's goal was pretty good. The Chad's was pretty good.
Yeah, there were plenty of good goals. I'm just saying. I like that one.
I'm just poo-pooing your
I'm talking
goal.
about the West Coast Eagles.
I'm just poo-pooing your goal.
I'll change it. By the next page, I'll change it again. Don't worry.
Fair enough.
No, it's a danger because you know what you like in these situations. The Eagles now set themselves up. All right, so if they go righto, we've got Collingwood on our home deck. We can put them out of the finals. Right? Now, the last decent game West Coast had was beating us in a grand final.
Yeah, you're probably right there.
So you say, right. I mean, if I was running the show over there, I'd be having them cranked up like there's no tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
I'd have everyone in there. I'd
have Dom Sheed flicking the coin.
All that. I'd be...
You'd have Nathan Vardy and Flying Ryan and McGovern rolling them all out.
Exactly.
They might have replayed with those gentlemen well, Flying Ryan clearly is at St Kilda, but you're putting him up on the big screen. You can maybe reenact that final passage of play.
You could get the umpires not paying the free kicks.
I knew it. If I threw out enough burley, you'd take some of it, wouldn't you? Do you know what they should do also is the goal umpire from, Rocker's goal, get him back.
Oh, you get the boundary umpire from Wayne Harms as well. Yeah.
I reckon
Don't go back to 2002. I'll be here all day.
Yeah.
I've deliberately not found out who the umpires are.
Yeah.
All right?
West Coast Eagles, I've just built you a beautiful PR plan.
Well,
for
there,
this week.
that's it. And for the Pies, hopefully go over and fix them up.
Oh, yeah, you travel well as a Collingwood supporter base. How good are the Collingwood fans?
Oh, well, how long have you got?
No.
Richmond's win. Now, I'm going to shout out to an old mate of mine, John O'Rourke, who's the president of Richmond. Now, John went up on Friday night to Sydney with his wife Trish for the launch of the AFLW. He stayed for Saturday's game and then got on the early flight, obviously, back to Melbourne for the Tigers. Talk about being in there and supporting the girls in his team and football. And he deserved the win. And all the Tigers deserved the win. It was great for them. It was fantastic. And the good players played well, and they got a win on the MCG. So well done to the Tigers.
Yeah, it's good for
and they
the
got off the
faithful.
bottom of the ladder.
Great for the faithful. But then there'll be people who are going, well, you cost yourself the number one pick.
Oh, yeah. But you're not getting the number one pick at pick one anyway. There's father, sons and everything.
Yeah, but you can bid on it.
Yeah, I know, but you've got
You
the.
can do all sorts of things with that.
They'll be right.
Yeah, they'll be fine.
Yeah, they've got good young kids already. They need to win.
They just need to get on the park.
Mate, they're going to
Most
get their
of them are in
picks.
rehab.
They're going to get good picks. They're going to have rehab these kids. The Tigers, everyone thought at the start of the year, yeah, they're going to be great. And they got smashed because they're young. Another year, another pre-season, they'll be okay. Brisbane Lions, we just want to ask you about this. They've been knocked over a couple of times when people have got on a roll. So there's been the talk all year that they have become pick and choose when they want to have a go. And they got to whatever that goal I was mentioned a bit earlier, halfway through the second quarter or third quarter, and they had Carlton cooked. And then Carlton lifted and they dropped off. You said they put the queue in the rack. What team puts the queue in a rack?
Ooh, they've had issues with attention on their defence because it goes around D ground.
D ground. Defence, yeah.
Defence. And their profile says that. So to be a premiership side, I think there's only one that you've been outside the top six. So clearly their attention to detail with the way they're defending hasn't quite been there, but I think they'll be fine. Yeah. I think they'll be 100% fine. There's some injuries, and then Ty Gallup going out, and then Hipwood has to play back. So, again, that to shuffle the deck chairs. But I think it said more about Carlton than anything.
Yeah. I'll ask you about the wildcard round, okay? Because you weren't massively for it at the start, were you?
No, my issue with the wildcard round, it's all in the sales pitch, which you know better than anybody else.
Yeah.
I think the way that they tried to articulate it and push it out there was so poor that you got people offside straight away.
I think this is what happens with the AFL is because there are so many shows now where everyone's got an opinion and most of them are ill-informed, but they hide behind the PR instead of just coming out and saying things. Right? This is where governments in Australia do the same thing as well. They just constantly say BS to us and no one believes it, but they think that it gets through. So you're better off coming out and saying, this is going to be fantastic for these reasons. It's going to stop the tanking. We're going to get an extra. We don't have to have the bye week. We're going to get 2 extra games down a track that's going to be worth money to us, and let's go, and it keeps things going. Now,
but as
you know, I've got a different plan for what that finals would look like, and I think possibly when I get to the deep heat segment in a couple of weeks' time, I might be actually rubbing it in.
Ooh.
Because we might get to a stage where the last round, it's already done.
How does that work?
Well, it means that if Collingwood and Carlton win, that's it this week. The last round won't make any difference. The last 2 rounds.
But how does that go for things like awards and Brownlows?
No, you're taking me in a different direction. What I'm saying is we'll end up in the last round of the season where they're not playing for anything.
Yeah.
Because the top 10 will have been set.
Yeah, that can.
What I want to do is have eliminations as we go.
Yeah.
So this week would be an elimination game.
So going back to the start of the year, where the way that they should have sold it is, hey, finishing the top 6 is something that we should reward much, much better.
Yep.
And I think everyone would agree with that. It's a long season. It's a war of attrition.
Yep.
There's up and down. Let's reward the top 6 better.
That's it.
So bang, locked away. And so you've earned the right to rest some players for a week, and we want to fill that void of a weekend of no footy. And then they did somersaults and backflips of, is it a final or is it not a final? They shouldn't have called 7 to 10 the wildcard a final. It should have called it a play-in, which it is. It's a play-in, because then they were like, people ask straight up, oh, well, if Essendon win won. Is that their first finals win in so many days? And then people are going, well, this is Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, but are people that stupid that they can't figure that out?
No, but it counts as no.
I mean, no, in the media. I'm not saying.
No, but it's
I'm not
all-
saying to people out in the
Alright.
public. But I heard a lot of the carry on the talkback callers and all that sort of stuff. And I'm listening to blokes going, "What do you got an IQ of 20?
No,
you got to figure it out."
It's not. It's not
As
about.
I've said, there are plenty of dumbasses in football.
No, it's
I've
not.
been one.
Yes, it's not about that. But I think the way they presented it off the bat,
Yeah,
had
okay.
people on the
Yeah,
back foot.
yeah.
Now,
But that's because they
But I'm
are
gonna reserve my
so
ju-
they get beaten up on everything, the AFL.
you're being an AFL sycophant
No,
here.
quite rightly so in some accounts. I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah, and I'm not bashing the AFL for AFL's
I'm
sake.
agreeing with you, what you're saying. They should have sold it better.
Yes,
But but now it's there.
yeah,
It's
look,
good.
No, and I've enjoyed
Yeah.
the race to the final 10.
But I reckon
But let's just see it play out
we've got
for a
to,
year before we have our judgment.
Okay, we're going to have a year of it, but I reckon it can change in the next 2 years when the 20th team comes in. It changes again, right? Because you can get everyone playing everyone once, and you nearly get a season done. Play the exotics, as I call them, and then I reckon you have the playoffs, 2 final eights.
And the other thing
That
they
makes
didn't think
sense.
about at the time was the fact that teams might rest 10 players.
Yeah.
And so now they've had to put a memo out that will fine you if you do that.
So it comes back to my point. If you're playing to survive, you don't rest your players.
Yeah, true.
It's all right. They come back to me eventually. It takes 3 years, and then somebody will claim it as their idea, and it'll happen. Okay, we'll get to that rub in when we get to the international game in a moment.
But my point being, by having a wild card, you've just moved back dead rubbers from not only the last game, it'll just come back further rounds.
Anyway,
It's just games of consequence.
yeah, it is. You know how you get rid of dead rubbers? Don't have any dead rubbers. Have a system that doesn't allow dead rubbers. Anyway, I've got here Josh Carr and Craig Kelly. Do we really care about those blokes having a fight with each other?
But can't they both be right?
Yeah.
Well, why do we have to have a winner in that?
Oh,
I like Josh Carr. He's setting the tone as how Port Adelaide looks under his stewardship.
yes.
And Craig Kelly is being a CEO who's being bold and brash about his club.
Well, I think, not
what's
that I'm
right-
looking to Craig Kelly in out here, but I think he was just talking about something that seems to be self-evident for the last year, that Butters is a chance to come back to Melbourne.
Yeah.
I don't think I don't think anyone stopped the front page for that, did they?
No.
And good old Josh. I mean, I'm glad he's in there, and arrogance. I love that when Port Adelaide is a team who want to steal someone else's jumper. Arrogance. My God, we exist only to win flags.
I've got to thank Port
me a
Adelaide too.
spell.
Port Adelaide have sent me one of those teal numbers that I like so much.
There you go.
So thank you
They
for
look
that.
good at them too. No, I liked what Josh Carr had to say, and I'm with you.
That's what I mean. I reckon both are right.
No problem whatsoever.
Don't we want a bit of argy-bargy? Your club, my club.
I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Might have been guilty of it at times. Over the
It's just a couple of times.
Hey, let's get into the rub it in, okay? The ice gel from the makers of Deep Heat. There it is there. Can we get a wide shot on the magnificent Deep Heat? There it is. Yeah. And there's the ice gel.
That's the one I use.
Yeah. Did a bit of training. I need to get the ice gel.
What
into
were you doing?
cars.
Were you punching out 400s or something?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. I'm a good rep guy.
Yeah.
I like to rep, yeah.
Yeah, you're boxing.
Doing nothing at the moment. No, went for a walk. From the makers of Deep Heat, feel at work. Always read the label, follow the directions for use. And as we always say, when you're using Deep Heat or ice gel, make sure you wash your hands at the end of it, okay?
Don't stick it in your jocks.
No, don't scratch yourself in the middle of the night. Righto.
What do you got?
I'm
What are
going to
you
go.
rubbing
I
in?
want to go with you first.
All right.
You've got Freo here.
Yeah. So
You're claiming Freo.
100% I'm claiming Freo.
Righto.
At the start of the year when we have to put our way too early predictions, this is a proper gloat from me.
Yep.
We don't often get these right. So we only highlight the ones we get right, not the ones that we get wrong.
Could
every
well be
year.
the kiss of death on Freo.
Yeah, I know, but yeah, you would have done this every year. You have to put your ladder in
Yeah, I
and all
know.
that sort of stuff. I had Freo finishing on top, and they're going to finish on top of the ladder.
Righto.
So
All right.
I get the gloat.
Oh, there you go. You get a tick for that one.
Yeah, I get to wobble my head around here.
Irish international game is mine. You know that I've been pushing hard for this for a long
You've
time.
been pushing hard for the all Ireland team.
I want the Irish team to be the 20th team in the competition for AFLW.
How was your traction up there in Sydney on it?
Starting to gain traction. To be honest, I pulled 2 big-time sponsors to the idea who came to me and said, we would like to really get involved in this. We'd
Guinness
like the
and
idea."
Paddy Power? Was
No, I won't say what they were. And no, they were both countries. Serious people
Oh, yeah.
who say, righto, this is good. The girls really keen on it, the Irish girls. They love the experience. I think the result actually showed that there is obviously the whole of Australia playing a smattering of Irish girls, but that team would be a really good game. I think the other thing that I was up there on the weekend, and it was the most wonderful experience. The launch the night before for the AFLW, as I've said to you before, the most emotional I've ever been at Collingwood events where the AFLW launches. And they were just wonderful, seeing the joy and the opportunity and the families come together and everything else that was around it, the socio situations as well, just wonderful. So they did a great job, the AFL. Make their own rules is basically what their theme is going forward. And I think that's what it should be. Don't try and mimic the men's game, which has had 130 years to get to where it is. The pure joy that I witnessed up there, and I looked at the Governor-General Sam Mostyn, who was the first woman AFL commissioner, Gabby Traynor, who's a commissioner, but has, her father and grandfather were both presidents of North Melbourne, so steeped in football tradition, coming off the GWS board as well. To see those people, and then others, everybody else. Laura Kane, really, she's copped a fair whack, Laura Kane, over the journey. She did a sensational job. From the AFLW, there was complaints that it wasn't at the SCG. Never should have been at the SCG. It was right there at North Sydney. And you looked around, the O'Reilly stand, the McCarthy stand, as Ireland are playing Australia.
They presented so well on TV.
Oh, mate. And, it rated higher, I think, higher than the women's grand final.
Oh, did it?
Yeah. It was everything. I looked at the all-women commentary team. I just looked at it and said, wow, how good is this?
The kit looked good too.
The kit looked great. And not only that, we saw athleticism. It was a good game of footy. And what it showed is if there was a mistake, was probably the AFL's ambition in going to too many teams too soon. Okay? But what we need to do now is really get more and more coming through. But that was a good game of footy.
Yeah.
There were some sensational goals, great marks, really good tactics. You had the bigger-bodied Australian girls compared to the Irish girls who said, if it was on a bigger game, we might have been able to get around them.
Run around them. More.
But I just thought it was, we sat down to the pub afterwards. We walked around to a pub. And sat down, and all of us were really excited. And next to us were a whole group of the families who were beside themselves, so happy. Irish families on the ground beforehand. It was organised chaos beforehand, but it was like going to the best junior footy game you could go to, and then it became this elite game broadcast on television, everything happening.
Any word on another game?
Which one?
Like a
rematch?
rematch?
I'd think you'd just pencil that in now.
Okay.
I mean, the other thing they'll look to do, I think, is maybe start to head to maybe some state of origin. But the representative games are fantastic. I mean, I left that, going, righto, that's what it can be. That's where we need to head to. That's the standard of performance and skill that we get that to. You get it to that, you go and watch that every week.
Yeah, it was a good game of footy.
So what we need to do is fast track getting the skills, recruiting, opportunities. And as I said, probably had we stayed at 12 teams and, there was maybe ways of finessing that with one team in states, et cetera, we got what we got. But I think the Irish international team being a team is a really good step forward.
Yep, it was a success.
Oh, it was massive success. Now, I'm not being silly about this.
No.
It was one of the great days of football that I've been to. When I stood there and looked out and looked 10 and 15 and 20 years down the track, remembering that I'm old enough now to have been around when football was just about dead in the 80s, and what we saw when we started the footy show, and then when I started at Collingwood, what we thought we could do, and where the AFL Commission took us with ground rationalisation and Friday night football, all the things that everyone complained about, and where the AFL got to be a little bit careful, is back to what you said a few moments ago, is not to react, right? They have to make the right decision, not the popular decision. I don't care about all these surveys. Work out what's right. Go for it.
Yep.
We need to quickly get to a night grand final or a twilight grand final. Interesting that my understanding is that surveying now, most people like twilight and night grand final, not days, at the MCG. That's from right around the ground, members and in the southern stand, in the public sections. So let's step into it. Let's step into it and really get cracking again. Because I think we've had a year of the game being talked down, maybe a couple of years of the game being talked down. So I don't know. It rejuvenated my love for the game
Good.
on Saturday,
Happy Ed is a good Ed.
which needed to because I was pretty flat after Geelong fixed up Collingwood. So I was in Sydney, right? I was on business on Thursday, flew back for the Collingwood game, and then flew back for all this. I was a bit flat. It rejuvenated my
Flat as a certain someone's hat.
Exactly, yes. Used to come to our house in Broadmeadows too, the night man, as they used to call him. Yeah. Jamal Medal. John Noble gets a vote.
John Noble's not getting a vote, Jamal. Will Ashcroft is not getting a vote
Josh Dacos.
and didn't get a vote.
How does he get three? He's 3-2-1. We're all in losing sides. What's Jamal smoking? Do we need to do a drug test on Jamal?
Appreciate it, Jamal. Keep sending him through.
What? You sure he hasn't been doing the Brownlow votes?
Yeah.
No, sorry, Jamal, you're off the.
Now, remember this year.
Jeez, have a look at this. Are you going to read out the electoral roll here?
No, I'll pick some ones, but you'll find the leaderboard is about spot on. Nick Dacos still gets a vote.
Yeah.
Of course. There's a few in there.
What about Ollie Henry's goal that he kicked it along the ground, stubbed his toe?
Yep. Yeah, that didn't really spin at all.
Jeez.
Oscar McDonald, how about that for a journeyman? 100th game as well.
Yeah.
And Herbert, a mid-season draft pick for the West Coast Eagles, was good. The big kahuna, Josh Tracy, as well.
Where are you? I'm reading.
I went from ones and I'll come home.
We're going. Okay, yeah, there we go.
Twos. Impy's having a fantastic year. Jason Horn-Francis is as well. And we've got a few others. Isaac Rankin's put a good month together. My three voters.
Yeah, go the three.
Ollie Dempsey cut you apart on the wing. Dan McStay.
Yeah, played well.
I thought he played really well.
Yeah.
That's Warner from the Fremantle Football Club.
Yep.
Naz, the whiz, the little whiz. Can he win the Coleman medal? Jai Newcomb, Jagger
Great,
Smith.
wouldn't it?
Tim Taranto needs some flowers for the year that he's had there, with all the injuries and young players. Max Gawn, 2 Meter Peter, and Riley Thilthop, which sounds like you need an extra couple of R's in there as well.
Yeah.
Our leaderboard, got Cozzy on 20, Jordan Dawson and Will Ashcroft on 21. Big Max moves up to 24, Naz on 27, Bontempelli on 36, and Nick Dacos on 38.
Yeah. I was really impressed with Jordan Dawson in an interview after the game.
When isn't he impressive?
Yeah, but he just was really great. I thought, wow, everything that he's had to go through this year and powering on and, after they got beaten by the Pies the week before, came out, set themselves back up, getting some players back. Fogarty comes back into that team. They got a good run to the finals now.
Yeah, it helps running into Essendon after you have a loss.
Yeah, it does. All right, next Wednesday, this Wednesday, 2 days' time, we'll be back. You can join us and send us some questions, Eddie and Jimmy at tapmedia.com.au. Follow us on Instagram and anywhere else that you get podcasts. But thanks, mate. That's good.
Yep, see you Wednesday.
See you on Wednesday.